Some people find breaking into the tech industry to be extremely difficult and frustrating, especially if you don't have a traditional background in doing so. But here at Cut the Tech, we specialize in helping people do just that. I'm Coach Dre, and I went from zero experience at all to landing my first job in tech sales, working from home, making over $70,000 a year in only 84 days. And since then, I've been helping people do the exact same thing. On this series, we interview students who have taken that leap and successfully started new careers in the tech field, sharing their stories, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the setbacks, and the victories. These individuals have gone out into the tech field and they've embodied the Cut the Tech motto, which is, don't play me, pay me. Welcome to Paid Not Played. Run the intro, please.
Don't play me, pay me. Cut the Tech.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Cut the Tech, my CTT family. I am your host. I am your guide. I am your boy. I am Dre. My wife, my mother, my grandmother, they all call me Andre. But if you are not those three lovely ladies, then please don't call me Andre. Thank you guys for stopping by the Cut the Tech channel. While you are here, please do all the preliminary things. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Or don't. We don't care, you're grown. Do what you want to do with your YouTube experience. Now, they say the couple that prays together stays together. But what happens when a couple breaks into tech together? What happens when you have two driven individuals with a need for a career change and you mix that with an opportunity and some hard work? I'll tell you what happens. Milton and Nancy Johnson. That's what happens. Today, we share their story of how they broke into the tech industry together. And I promise y'all, as they're sharing their stories, there are tons of jewels they are dropping. So pay attention. So CTT family, y'all know what it is. Lock in. Let's get to it. All right, what up, what up, what up? Cut the Tech family. Welcome to our new segment called Paid Not Played. I am so freaking excited about this, particularly with this couple that have become very, very good friends of mine. They were students. They're also CourseCareers alumni. CourseCareers gang. But they also both collectively went through some coaching with myself. And so I've got to learn a lot about their story and see the progress and everything. And so I wanted to bring them on to be the first guest on Paid Not Played because their story is so dope. And so we're going to jump right into it, man. Y'all welcome my peoples, Milton and Nancy Johnson. Give them some claps, y'all. What's good? What's good? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Great.
Man, great.
How are you?
Man, I am excited. Happy to have you guys here. We were talking a little bit right before we jumped on here, just kind of getting a little bit of more of an update of the story and everything. Man, I'm so hyped to have you guys share your story with everybody who checks this out. So I guess what we'll kind of start out at is, of course, both of you guys are CourseCareers alumni.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about where you guys were before you guys got into CourseCareers and what kind of made you guys want to take that route, and then we'll kind of take the conversation from there.
Gotcha.
Awesome. I guess I'll start. So when I discovered CourseCareers and enrolled, I was actually in property management, and I was underpaid and stressed out. Prior to that, I was an entrepreneur as well. So my husband and I were in network marketing, as well as we owned a vegan cafe. But then COVID hit, ended up closing the business down. And then, I went back into the job force and went into property management. So that's where I was prior to enrolling in CourseCareers.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Okay, so for me, it was pretty much the same as my wife said. We were doing a vegan cafe. We were also in network marketing too as well. The vegan cafe closed and we had to figure it out, right? My wife decided to go back into the workforce. For me, having that entrepreneurial spirit, I wanted to kind of like find my own way versus like going back into the workforce. So that didn't end up working out too well. I started doing DoorDash and Instacart, to help around the house and make sure that we had ends meet. And just seeing my wife, take CourseCareers and graduating CourseCareers, not only graduating, but landing a job shortly after. I was like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. I enrolled in CourseCareers, invested in your coaching with Coach Dre. Let's go. And for me, that was an amazing experience. And upon graduating the CourseCareers, I was able to land a job a month after. So I'm excited, and here we are.
All right. Yeah. That's dope. So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to when we first met, right? So I was doing my normal Coach Dre duties, doing my cohorts, helping students get through them and all that. And I get a message one day from Nancy. And she's like, Coach Dre, I wanted my husband just started CourseCareers. I've already graduated CourseCareers. My husband just started. He's thinking about taking your course, right? And so we had some back and forth, some dialogue about that. But Nancy, you want to share a little bit about what that experience was and how that came about?
Yeah. So at that time, my husband had just enrolled in CourseCareers. And he came to me. He was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting coaching. I found this guy, Coach Dre. Like, I've been checking out his YouTubes, and I'm thinking of investing in his cohort." And I was like, I know him, and I was like, let me hit him up and get more details. I'm like the go to the source type of person. Like, let me just see what's up or whatever. And so I was like, hey, my husband's. Because he hadn't, pulled the trigger yet. And so I was like, I think this would be great for him. So I hit Coach Dre up. I was like, hey, my husband's thinking of taking your cohort, kind of gave him a little backstory, whatever, what he would recommend. And he was able to actually recommend, that's actually when he recommended the cohort. Because at the time, I think my husband just knew that he coached just in general, so the specifics with the cohort came up when I messaged Coach Dre. And he was like, actually, I'm starting a cohort. And I was like, oh, wow, perfect time. It's so funny how things aligned, right? Because literally you was about to start the cohort. I don't know if the same week or the week later, the next week. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of happened perfectly. And so he ended up enrolling in the cohort. Yeah.
Yeah. And Milton, where were you? So at that point, brand new to the course, looking for some coaching. Like, where was your mind at during that time?
So in the course, my mind was like, Milton, you can either do what you've always been doing and try to figure it out yourself, or you can invest in coaching, right? And so, like my wife said, I believe nothing happens by happenstance. I was looking at your YouTube and I wanted to reach out, but sometimes being a man, we got this ego thing, right? So it was perfect that you and my wife was already communicating. Yeah. And she told me about the course and we just got on it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just enrolled in your course, and it was the best thing that we ever decided to do when it came to investing in something great like that. So
dope. So you guys actually went through the cohort together, right?
Yes.
Because I remember telling Nancy, I'm like, hey, y'all married, y'all doing this together. Like, I know you've been through it already, but why don't you go through it with us, right? And so you guys showed up to our cohort. Ready to go. I know you both acknowledge that you have a network marketing background. I do too. And there's something about that background where you learn a lot about personal development and the importance of mentorship and the importance of just leadership in general. And so from the day that you guys walked in, I was like, okay, I already know they're going to kill this, right? I could just you had that thing that you need to be able to start something new and actually see it through to finish it. Yes. Right. And so speak to that a little bit, that where does that come from? I know you guys, like you said, you had your own business, network marketing. Like, where did that part of you guys' personality come from?
Yeah.
You want to go?
I guess I can start. For me, honestly, that was developed in network marketing. I just saw more for myself. That's when my vision really expanded of what was possible and what I could really achieve and what I could accomplish. I mean, we got up to the top 3% of the company we were with, so we did amazing, great things, and so I think that's for me where it, that kind of fire, that spark, of okay, I can do this, or that leadership, those leadership qualities really develop when you're leading, a large team of people, right? And, it starts with you, showing the way and being that example. So I think that's for me where it started and has been, developed over time. Yeah.
So just to make sure I'm clear, we're talking about where did the personality of having the grit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, my wife and I, our background is different. I'm from Baltimore City.
Okay.
And, I grew up, seeing hard work. I grew up having to do certain things, right? And coming from, this, Coach Dre, coming from where I came from, it's kind of like that mentality of, I gotta go get it, right? That go get it, that hustle mentality. Mm-hmm. So for me in network marketing, I brought that same mentality, right? But in a positive way to network marketing. And so network marketing gave me the strategy, the ability to go out and get it the right way, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about personal development, that's where the foundation was there in network marketing, which had allowed us to really have the grit to go and get it, even in tech as well. So,
yeah. It's amazing that those leadership skills translate to just about anything. But here's the hard part. So you guys, because you said this earlier, Milton, you said that Nancy was like, I'm going back to the workforce. And you were like, man, nah. You know what I mean? like, nah. I know that, doing network marketing, actually being pretty successful at it, what it does is that it'll put a thing in your brain that, I mean, I've seen what independence and entrepreneurship type can be for me, right? Because you're an independent contractor in that you're, in a sense, the owner of your own business, but you don't own the overall business, right? So for me, going back to the workforce was like, man, I would do it, but it was like always something inside of me like, man, I want my own thing though. You know what I mean? So being that person, coming from that, having to go back into the workforce, like what was that like for you guys?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I had to really let go of ego. Mm-hmm. I had to be okay with, in a sense, starting over, learning and growing inside of a new industry, being okay and comfortable with getting uncomfortable. So for me, it was tough, but it was a good tough, And so I knew that if I was going to pivot into a new industry, if I was going to land the role that I went to CourseCareers for, I had to change. And in order for things to change, you got to change, right? And so that's one thing that I decided to do. I decided to let go of ego, understand that it's not about me. It's about always being curious and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So.
What about you, Nancy? Because you was like, it sounded like you was just like, well, whatever, I'm back outside. What's up?
Yeah, I feel like when I went into the job force, it was to me more so for more work-life balance, because, when we owned our cafe, we literally had no work-life balance, and on top of that, barely the income, because money was coming in, but it was going right back out. I mean, you got rent, you got staff to pay, it's endless, right? So for me, it was more so having that work-life balance where I can literally go clock in somewhere and clock out and not have to think, Like not have to think about, I got to go to the store now. I got to get this. I'm off, but like, I still got to do things. I still got to do payroll and stuff like that. So for me, it was more so of that, like having that more of that work-life balance. And then obviously having that more, stable income coming in, I still had that entrepreneurial mindset, though I still do, that to me, to us, both of us, we're very ambitious. It never, goes away. So it's super dope that now we get to really, talk about our journey, and, all these doors are like opening up organically, while we're now in space. So I think it kind of, it's just like the best of both worlds for us, now we're like seeing what's possible. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So you guys went from that, you jumped into CourseCareers. Let's talk a little bit about the actual CourseCareers experience itself for you guys. So, Nancy, I know at the time you had met with me, you had already passed CourseCareers. You had already landed a position, but it wasn't the position that you necessarily wanted at that time. So tell me a little bit about your CourseCareers experience, like going through the course passing the exam, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so my experience with CourseCareers, and just being truly transparent, is probably total opposites of, my husband here. But like, for one, it took me a little longer to finish CourseCareers, and that's okay, right? Like, everybody does it on their own terms and own time frame, right? So like, for me, I was working a full-time job, very stressful job at that. So like, when I would come home, I would still stress off my day. Like, so, but I made it an effort to really structure my time where I was taking the course right after work, right? Maybe decompressing a little bit and getting right to it, knocking it out. And then, having that time to decompress in the evening, but just setting up that schedule, for me was super important. And then, for me, the course really gave me that framework, that like foundation of, yes, I had experience with sales. Yes, I had customer service experience and all that, and leadership abilities, all that good stuff, right? But the industry was new. So that really gave me that foundation of what the industry was like, what the role entailed, right? And the language, right? The lingo, the terminologies and all that, to be able to perform on these interviews, right? Because it's one to like complete the course, but it's another thing to like, now you got to land the job, right? So I think that was mainly my experience with CourseCareers, like showing me everything that I needed to know, but being able to do it at my own terms, right? So like, being able to do it on my own schedule. I really love that it was self-paced, right? I get to do it on my time. So that was my time frame. Like, after work, I would do it. I would take the weekends off usually, but Monday through Friday, I was being intentional with like, after work, I was clocking into, my course. I was even doing it at lunch, sometimes on my lunch breaks or in breaks in between. I was just making sure that I was staying on top of it. So that was my experience with the course. Also, the community was amazing. Networking with so many other different people. LinkedIn was a truly a great tool where I learned a lot, just connecting with different people. And then it also allowed for me to be able to kind of start building my brand and building, just that presence on LinkedIn as well. The course really set me, obviously sets us up very powerfully for that, because you don't really think to like, oh, let me create a LinkedIn. Like, I didn't have LinkedIn before CourseCareers. So I truly feel like CourseCareers was a great just program. It really sets us up powerfully. Yeah.
Dope. Now you had a very unique experience with the exam. Do you want to share that with the people?
Yeah, y'all. So I failed my first time. My first exam, I failed by 1 freaking point. I got a 69. I was pissed. Like, I was so disappointed. Like, I probably cried. I think I did. And I was just I was crushed. Like, the fact that it was 1 point off, like, you need a 70 to pass, and I got a 69. I was like, oh my gosh. But what it taught me was what I needed to brush up on, because with CourseCareers, it's so dope that they literally give you feedback on your exam. So they'll grade your exam and give you feedback and, explain why the grade was the way it was. And so that was a blessing in disguise, because now I knew what I needed to touch up on. So I was able to take that feedback that CourseCareers gave me to go back and really kind of recap the course and really study. And this time really retain the information that you're learning, because it's one thing to just take the course to just pass it. And I'll be honest, just to be truly transparent, I was rushing it. Like, I was just like, look, I just need to get out this job. I need to just break into tech. Like, I was other things. Like, I was still passing the quizzes and stuff like that, still doing, good. But when it came down to in the exam, where now you have written responses and audio responses, it's different. So it taught me what I needed to go back and relearn. And that's exactly what I did. And the second time I took it, I passed with an 86. So dope. Now, Milton, so by the time we met, Nancy had already gone through this journey. She had taken the exam twice, passed the exam. Now, when you come to my class, you're going through it with me, right? And you're facing your own challenge when it comes to the exam, going into it and even afterwards. So I want you to share your story and your experience with the exam and what it was like also.
Absolutely. So when I started CourseCareers, I did things a little differently than Nancy. I was really serious. No, I'm joking.
Way more serious than I was.
I said to myself, if I'm going to invest in a course, I'm going to literally take the information and apply it, right? And so fast forward, when I joined your coaching cohort, I was 80% done with the course. However, what I found was that it's nothing like community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I needed that sense of community, that sense of coaching, someone to mentor me through the process. And I would say that the only reason why I took so long to take the exam is because I struggled with trying to be perfect.
Mm.
And we call that analysis by paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a conversation with you, and you had discussed, hey, somebody took the final and they got like a 90 something and they still didn't land a role. And for me, that just clicked. I said, you know what, Milton? Stop procrastinating, take the final. So when it came time to take the final in our cohort, because we had a planned session, right? I said, you know what? I'm going to take the final. And I got an 85, my first go around. However, I was not right. I reached out to Coach Dre. I said, oh my God. And I'm quite sure you thought that I failed. And I'm like, I got an 85.
Bruh, listen, when you hit me up, I'm like, my man, I'm sitting there listening to the recording. I'm like, yo, my man failed. I was like, what'd you get? He was like 85. Now I looked at my phone like, are you kidding me? I said, dog, I thought you was about to cry. Like,
no, look, those words that you said to me really changed my perspective. And I say, you know what? I'm not going to take the final again. I passed it. Now let's focus on landing a job. And so CourseCareers has literally, I would say, gave me the confidence to pivot into a new industry, one, and also provided the tools that I needed to, especially during this interview process, right? Knowing the technical terms and understanding, how to do a mock cold call. The cohort really took it home for me. And that's been my experience. It's a great experience. So I would encourage anybody to actually take the course, especially invest in some coaching.
Yeah.
So you just brought up the interview. So I want to transition to go into that part too. We slow walking this dog today. You know what I mean? So you guys have both at this point graduated CourseCareers. Nancy got an 86. She's super excited about it. Milton's got an 85. He hates it. But now you're going into, the actual test of passing CourseCareers is landing the job, right? Exactly. You've got the certificate now, but it was Kobe Bryant in the playoffs. Job not finished, right? We gotta get the job now. We didn't come here just to get this paper. We came to get some money, right? Absolutely. So explain, because I know you both had unique experiences when it came to the interview process and then the actual jobs that you landed and stuff like that. So each of you kind of go through, what the interview process was like, what the ups and downs of it were, and then when you finally landed, where you landed at in what you guys got in the positions you were at.
Yeah, I guess I could start. For me, I'll be honest, in the job search part of my journey after I graduated from CourseCareers, I was what I would call a little desperate. I was desperate to get out of my current role because it was just so stressful and I was so underpaid. And I was just like, I'm just ready to break into tech, And so for me, I was kind of mass applying, just applying to every job out there, and so for me, when I started going on the job interviews, I did pretty good, and so for me, I wasn't as selective as I feel like I should have been in the beginning, where, knowing my worth, right, having a standard of what I accept and just those sort of things. I kind of took the first role that kind of fell on my lap, so to say, right. I did really great in the interview and everything, and so I worked hard for it and everything like that. But what it taught me was, it taught me a lot of valuable experiences that I was able to teach him. So to make sure that he didn't do that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So in the end, it worked out. I'm truly grateful because that gave me a year, like a full year of experience under my belt. So that now I was transitioning into applying for SDR roles because I was in a full sales cycle role. And so it was definitely, I mean, it was a great experience, and I was able to apply some of the things that obviously I learned in the course and also within, you know, my sales experience background as well. But it wasn't what I set out to do. And so that just kept sitting with me. Like, I was like, yo, like I took CourseCareers to be an SDR. Like, I want to be that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to leverage my experience. I'm going to really just start really taking this thing up a notch and start scaling in my career. And so that's exactly what I did. That's at the time where I was in the cohort with Coach Dre. I was, even though I graduated the CourseCareers already and had already kind of got my foot in the door within tech sales, I still wasn't satisfied. I was like, I still want more. I still want to become an SDR and have that title and really get my foot in that role. And so that's during the time when I joined the cohort with, you know, my husband. And that to me was like a refresher, right? Because now I was again doing interviews, right? I was again doing applications, but this time I was more strategic with it. This time I knew my worth. I knew what I had a different standard at this point because I learned from my experiences. Yeah.
And so you ended up calling me during that process with another tragedy. Like you guys have the happiest tragedies, right? So I get a message from Nancy and she's panicking. And I'm like, what happened with Nancy? Like, what's going on? Coach Dre, I need to talk to you. Like, this is like, I just need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's breathe. What's going on, Nancy? What's good? And so what was so pressing? What was the tragedy that was going on in Nancy's life at this time?
So the tragedy was, guys, that I had 2 job offers on the table and I couldn't decide which one to take. I know it sounds silly, but I hit Coach Dre up and I was like, Coach Dre, I got 2 job offers and this is what this one is. This is what, and you know, I mean, it was like a no-brainer, but I just want to preface by saying, like, you know, when you're new to tech sales, like all this OTE and base pay, like, you know, because I'm not, you know, coming from a space of where you can make commissions, you can make, like, it's like just a set either hourly or, you know, granted I was making commissions in my property management job, but it's like, it's just different in the tech sales space. So, you know, I got 2 job offers. So I was grateful. I was like, okay, I got 2 job offers, but now I got to make a decision, right? And so the first role that I landed was, it was a base pay of $62K, right? With an opportunity to earn up to $8K in commission, right? So it was not uncapped, right? There was a cap, right? Great benefits, fully remote, all that jazz. Second role I landed the offer was for $50K base pay, with a 50-50 split. So they told me 40 to 50K in additional commission. So I was looking at 90 to 100K OTE, but it was uncapped commission, also great benefits and fully remote. So I told Dre and he was like, is this really a question? Like, is this really a question? And I had to really sit with, and I was like, you know what? Because I was so focused on the base pay, y'all. Like, I was like, well, this one is 62K, right? And this one is only 50, right? But he was like, but you have uncapped commission. You have, you know, more opportunity to make more money. There's no cap. And overall, this is a better option. And I was just like, okay. So I ended up, not only did I accept that role, but I ended up taking this other offer that I got and I leveraged that to negotiate, right? So I came back to the recruiter and I was honest. I was like, look, I'm gonna be honest. I really want to take the job, but I got another job offer and they offering me 62K. So what you gonna do with that? Like, can you match me or can you get me closer to that? And so she was like, all right, let me teach, try to work my magic. So I ended up starting with 55. Yep, 55K, 50-50 split. So I'm looking at about, 100K OTE, but it is uncapped commission. Yeah.
Awesome. And so in Milton, so Nancy went the long route, right? Tons of applications put in, actually took a job that was not an SDR role to get some more experience. But you had a completely different experience when you were searching for your job. So tell us about what it was like for your job search and what you ended up at.
Yeah, absolutely. So seeing my wife go through her process, realizing her taking certain opportunities that wasn't necessarily what we went to the course for, I knew exactly what I wanted. Yeah. And I knew exactly what I didn't want. So for me, it was more of a strategic thing. So I drew up a list of companies, specifically 3, and in prospecting to these particular companies too as well. I landed an interview, completely bombed the first interview, right? And I reached out to Coach Dre and I told him the situation. And one thing that you shared with me that really stuck out was just be yourself, right? And then you said, I pray that you don't find anything until you just be yourself.
Yep.
And that changed my life. And so I had another interview set up. I had reached out to, at that time, the person was a VP of sales. And I said to them, I had to decline the interview because I just wasn't ready at the time. And so what I did was I took a couple of days to search within, and I prepared like it was the Super Bowl, right? And landed in my third interview with my top company on my list, and went through the interview process, killed the interview process, and landed the role. And so what that lesson taught me was that it's okay to know, one, your worth, know exactly what type of company you want to apply to and prospect into as well. And it's okay to be strategic. So yeah, we went, she took the long route, I took the short route. I learned from her route. And what that lesson taught me was, okay, my wife went through this process so that I won't have to go through the same thing. So I do appreciate that too as well. So
it's so dope knowing both of y'all, like, and working with you both individually and seeing like both of y'all's paths to the same place fit y'all's personalities, right? Like the way that y'all are built, just as individuals, y'all had to take those certain routes because that's what fit who y'all are. But it also highlighted y'all together, right? So the title of this episode, since this is the first episode of our new series, which is called Paid Not Played. This one is called The Family That Techs Together. All right, because the both of you guys broke into tech together. Y'all did it differently, but y'all leaned on each other and your own strengths to come to the same place. So now both of y'all have SDR roles that are very, very good base pay, but even extremely better with the OTE. Right?
Yes.
You guys both work from home, right? So explain to me, like, what has the work from home in tech with flexibility, making the type of money that y'all want to make, and being able to do it together in the same household, how has that added to everything? Because that's something that you can't put into the compensation plan because you can't put a dollar on it, but there's value there. So, like, explain what that's been like.
I actually want to go first because I didn't explain where I landed as far as compensation. Then I want to go into.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, do that.
So my present role, being at a top cloud software company, 80K, unlimited commission, as well as equity inside the company too as well. And just to answer that question, how has it changed our life? How has it changed our work-life balance? Man, when I tell you, before we both landed our jobs in tech, we were barely making it, right? And so I'm talking about going into the fridge, not seeing much in the fridge, us having to do DoorDash together sometimes. And as a man, from a man's perspective, right, it's hard to see that and understand that you have that responsibility. And pivoting inside of this industry has literally changed that, right? We're able to work fully remote together. We're able to eat breakfast together, lunch together, work out together, pray together. We're talking about having starting a family together as well. And when you talk about exactly what the tech industry really does, it's not just a financial thing. It's also the ability to be able to get your life back. You know, when you think about it, you don't have to go out here in this traffic into the world, right? You can just wake up and get onto the computer and just do the grind every single day. And so it has changed our life so quickly, Coach Dre. Quickly. I mean, tripled our income. And it has been, and this is not to brag or boast, but it's more so to tell anybody that's out there, if we can do it, we can do it too as well. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I know you want to say something.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I'll add is the fact that like now we have more of a structure, right? Like we literally, wake up, we are able to work out in the morning. Like we've been able to really pour into our health more, be more active, obviously now, thank God we have, more income to buy healthier groceries and meal prep and like all that. And I think that is so like, it's been so amazing to like, start our day off powerfully. We have a gym downstairs in our building where we live. And so we wake up, we go to the gym, we have breakfast together, we pray or do our personal development, put our worship music on, whatever, just get our mind right to start our day. And then we start our day. And then guess what? After work, we get to have dinner together where sometimes, where my husband was doing DoorDash and Instacart, sometimes he would be working at night. So we missed that time together. Sometimes we wouldn't have dinner together. Or sometimes we have to rush through dinner because he had to leave. And now we have that time back together. Talking about traffic, I mean, we don't have to worry about driving into nowhere, right? That wear and tear on the car, the gas. I mean, I can go on and on, but it's just been truly amazing. Yeah.
Man, so y'all went from just to go walk through the whole story. Y'all went from, having your own business together, doing well in network marketing before everything, having that all fall apart, having to humble yourselves and go back into the workforce. But actually doing it in a way where you're able to get into a field that still gave you some sort of that independence that you feel. Absolutely. Right. You can use those skills that you had learned because you learned some soft skills on how to sell things, right? Business to customer. There was no business to business background there, but there was business to customer. So you're able to take those skills, spend about $900 for a course, and then another $200 to go through a course. So about $1,100. Yeah. And a couple of months later, working from home, making a combined income of anywhere from 160 to 180K.
Yeah, you got it.
You don't go out. You don't leave the house for much of anything. So that 180K feel like a whole lot more than somebody else is making that has to go to the office and make it.
Absolutely.
And y'all both mentioned at least 4 or 5 times in here where y'all said, look, I had an option to be able to do this, but I didn't want to settle for that.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's the essence of what this is about. Because y'all know that the motto is like, don't play me, pay me. Yes. Right. But the first person you have to sell on that is yourself. Right. Like it's very easy to be like, well, this is what it is. And I could just go back to what it's always been because that's what it's always been. But both of you were there and you individually were both like, no, I'm not going back to that. But also pushed each other to go and do it collectively. Right. And so I am so freaking proud of y'all. Like y'all story is so dope to me. It's one of my favorite ones to tell when people ask me what I do. But I you know what I'm saying? I just help people, change their life. That's all. Just some slight. You know what I mean? So I'll tell you what. Like, what would be one thing, and then we'll get out of here. What would be one thing you could say if you could go back to talk to you sitting in the seat before you started this, or the version of you who's watching this, who's like, man, I want to be able to do this, but I don't know if I can. Like, if there's a couple out there, if there's just a man that's like a husband, like you said, Milton, who's like, man, I just ain't where I want to be. Or there's a wife that's like, yo, I don't where I want to be. Like, what would you say to that person, knowing what you know now?
So I would say get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because to pivot into a new industry, it can be uncomfortable. It can be a sense of uncertainty, but there's nothing inside your comfort zone, right? And so if you're going to go after success, if you're going to go and pivot into an industry that you have nothing, that you know really nothing about, it's okay to get uncomfortable. It's okay to get uncomfortable, right? Or get comfortable getting uncomfortable, but also staying curious. And staying curious means learning and growing. And you do that through investing. You said spending, investing in a course.
Yeah.
See, when you invest, you're expecting a return on that investment. And so we've invested in a course, invested in the coaching inside of the course via Coach Dre. And that has allowed us to gain that confidence needed to go out here and win, right? And winning has nothing to do with like going out here and just like landing a job. Winning is a mindset, right? And so stay curious, be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. So that's what I would share, to anybody looking to break into tech. So
I love that. I'll just add one more thing. Know your worth, right? Have standards, right? Don't go out here in the marketplace desperate, right? Know your worth, right? Know what you bring to the table. Have that confidence, have that posture in these interviews, because at the end of the day, you're also choosing the company, right? Yes, they're choosing you as a candidate, but like you're choosing a company, right? As well. And so, create that list. That's one thing I didn't do. I didn't have a list in the beginning. I was literally just mass applying, right? Is that whatever they call the spray and pray method, right? Where you literally just shooting these applications out here and just praying that somebody like that was me. And so that's my take, is just have that standard, know your worth, have that list, create those lists of those top companies that you want to work for, and really prospect into those companies. Like, do the job to get the job. You gotta do the job to get the job, because there's a lot of people out here that are just mass applying. There's a lot of people out here that are just putting in an application and don't even do the work to reach out to the hiring managers or these recruiters. So go above and beyond to stand out from your competition.
Yeah, don't play yourself, pay yourself. You heard? We talked about this in the cohort. Like, once you've got the certificate, there's a mind frame shift. Like, I'm not desperate for nothing. I am really one of them ones when it comes to doing what I do.
Yes.
Because you are, right? And so, man, I truly appreciate it. If y'all watching this, and you're still on the fence, like, yo, hit the link in the bottom and go check out the free CourseCareers site, right? I am a coach on there, as Nancy and Milton just told you. And if you do decide to join CourseCareers with the tech sales side, you can get access to me as one-on-one coaching. I'm pretty sure here in the near future, Nancy and Milton may be on there as coaches also. If they decide to do that, they definitely could, because they definitely got it. But I'm excited about you guys' journey, man. I'm happy to be here. Y'all are family now. Whenever y'all need anything, it's up. What's happening? Be good, right? We start hitting these tech events. We linking up. What's good? First round on me. Next round on y'all, because y'all making way more than I am. Let's switch that. First round on y'all, because y'all making way more than me.
I love it.
But yo, we got to get out of here, man. But y'all know the motto, yo. You have to say the motto. We are a CTT family, and we live by this motto, baby. Don't play me, pay me. And so, with y'all being the first ones on paid, not played, it's only right that I allow y'all to be able to take us out of here, y'all. So count of 3. Milton, you count it down, and y'all say it for me. Man.
Let's do it.
Pay me, pay me.
On the count of three, we're gonna say, "Don't play me, pay me, cut the tech." Y'all ready?
Let's get to it.
1, 2, 3. Don't play me, pay me, cut the tech. Let's go.
Don't play me, pay me, cut the tech.
Once again, y'all, thank you for stopping by the Cut the Tech channel. On your way out, please hit that like, comment, subscribe button, all that good stuff. And look, if you want more content like this, like you want to know about my story, how I individually broke into the tech industry, click this video right here. All right? Cut the Tech.